right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our beta project and what we're working on. So we're working on a fully automated lead prospecting and lead nurturing system. Our target is about understanding and developing and optimizing the marketing strategies, especially the B2B strategies around the about how to sell. So currently there's a lot of news in the market about AI, content writing, and really static items. But what we're going on is taking it further. We're looking at the sales path and the strategies. So I'm going to go through a few slides that'll help me explain what's happening here. So first of all, we need to think of sales as a game of poker or a game of chess. It's a journey. It's not something that's just static, right? So many of the systems like ClickFunnels and other systems, they're viewing that the journey is really piecemeal, and we're evaluating and optimizing based on a single element. Now, this changes. So if you view the journey as a path, as a longer path, it's a has different stages in it, different parts of the stages to understand what you're doing, to educate, to inform, but it's a path. And the idea is like any game of poker and chess, something that may look like a bad move earlier on may actually be a very strong, useful tool later on down the line. So a lot of tools right now, they optimize piecemeal. Here we optimize the journey from the start to the end. So trying to optimize call to action earlier on may actually lose you customers because certain customers need more education. Certain customers aren't ready to buy. Certain customers are busy. So looking at that as a journey, as the ultimate goal to get to a point where a customer is going to go to some type of call to action is looking at the path. So they might need certain elements of information in a certain way to be able to get to the point of action, rather than just viewing it as one email. Did they get call to action? Yes or no? One email call to action? Yes or no? Like this. So we're really trying to change the paradigm and how this operates. So the first thing is to change the thinking. Sales is a path, and the path might have twists, path might have choices, and they might be decisions that you need to make and decisions that can be optimized. So the first thing in this path journey is that when we look at the path, we're looking at the path in the sense of the user, not the path in the sense of, yes, I create a lead funnel and we run it for every user. No, in this case, we're creating a path based on their personality types. So the personality type we get from different types of forensics. So we're looking at the way that they wrote email. We're looking at external information in terms of the buyer and trying to develop a profile. So a simple version is the following model. I won't get into the psychology of it, but here we have 8 paths. So here we're trying to create a journey, but really we're breaking that journey into 8 journeys for based on the user. So the user here, the standard profiles that we use, not exactly, is the ones that are shown on this screen. So we have the provider, the explorer, the visionary, the intellectual, the detective, counselor, commander. So these are the profiles that you get as sales personas. But these sales personas have different needs. So if you're the visionary, You want to see the product, you have your customer problem, you'll want to see the future, the possibilities of the solution you're providing. Um, and you want to see very creative concepts. If you are more the intellectual, I guess, you're probably going to be looking for more factual information. You're looking for the 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 information, the numbers, the other critical sources of details that is supporting the product. Um, and if you're other kind of personalities, which I won't get into, but you may be looking for aspects like a lot of social proof, being part of the crowd, aligning yourself with different enterprises and different types of concepts. So what we're doing here is taking these personality types. So here we convert those personality types into custom workflows. So you can see this is just for illustration purpose, but a BPM diagram. So this is modeling interactions that need to occur over time, like we were talking about playing poker. So it's a strategy. So each individual personality type has a different strategy. So the strategy essentially will have specific objectives within the strategies to achieve, but the way they express themselves will be individually optimized. So that'll be the content, that'll be the subject lines, that'll be the sequence of information, the human contact in the process. And of course, we have here the personality type of the other. The other is the unidentified. So the journey for the other people is to explore what they're trying to find and what they're trying to achieve. So essentially, the objectives that we're trying to communicate are the same with all the personalities, but the way we express and communicate these objectives is different. So how are we optimizing and how are we processing? So the first thing is we're trying to optimize based on different emotional states. So we're trying to use the sales strategy, explain the logic. So the logic can be explained through facts and figures. The logic can be explained through case studies. The logic can be through the other aspects, through examples, demos, calculators, white papers. So the logic is taking the reasonable and the rationale of the human to evaluate, to understand that this is a product that they want, that this is something that, yes, makes sense that they want this. Appealing to the emotional. So the emotional appeal can be different with different personality types. So saying that you belong to the group, or if you use the tool, it's going to be exciting and you're going to learn more, or you're going to belong to a community and be a part of something greater than yourself. So there's different ways of appealing to the logic, to the emotional, and then to the strategy. So the strategy here is about how your product will be implemented, how it will be used to solve the problem, and how the stages are going to be there. So once again, depending on the personality type and who is your buyer, this can be expressed different. It could be expressed in a highly technical way for someone that's feeding and wanting that information, or it could be expressed in a very superficial way based on what they're doing, or it could be done from a customer's perspective in terms of the strategy. So the idea is to appeal to these things, but the way you appeal for it is being optimized in the strategy itself. The next part of the psychology is to use the sales psychology, the psychology of um, making people close a deal, making people commit to a strategy. So it's about giving them the push that they need to actually make a decision. You know, are you interested in this product or you're not interested in using this product? So here we do different model where we use creating the reciprocity, avoiding avoidance and fear, security like limited use and limited offers, um, feeling accomplished, and all these different strategies. So using these types of strategies will be used and you'll quite often hear about them as like closing strategies. So they're using different techniques to say, we only allow 10 customers a month, or if you sign up now, we'll give you a 50% discount, or we're going to give you something, but if you don't sign up, we're going to take it back again. That could be a gift or something else. Like you have it, but you're not going to do it. Or um, you're going to get a sense of commitment, like purpose, like, hey, you sign up and this is going to help the world in changing and being a better place. So there's different strategies. So we have the overall strategy of the communications, and then we have the strategy of the closing and the commitment to the application, to the sales process. So this is a 1,000-foot view of how it all works. And the first is that we have our customer journey workflow, which I discussed, and this is all based on certain psychological profiles of the buyer, and that will lead into how the communication, how we express it, that we expressed before, how to appeal to the logic, how to appeal to the emotional, how to appeal to the strategy. So trying to fit them all together. And then we combine that with the sales psychology. What's needed to get them to cross the line? What's needed to get them to commit? Um, and all these things are put together. Then we combine it with observed KPIs. So the KPIs is about what you consider to be good or what is not considered to be good in the process. So an example is, well, some company, all they care about is the ROI. So the ROI is the ultimate. Closing, closing, closing. This is the ultimate goal. But then with other customers, they want to make sure there's a sense of pleasure or loyalty or customer service. So the idea is that the strategy can be optimized, but how do you want the customer to feel? Do you want them to be happy, or do you just want them to content? And other aspects like that. So the idea is, when we have the optimization, we need to say what is important to the company and its overall long-term vision to be able to optimize around. And then obviously, once we have the strategy, the information, the observed KPIs, now we're going to optimize the sales. So the system will use known knowledge to be able to create the initial information and the sequence and the communication points with the customer that we know is going to be the baseline, is going to work, and is going to achieve success. But as you set a KPIs, the model can adjust. So there's things that might happen. The journey might change slightly, tweaking the timing, the sequence, the content might change, the subject lines, the body of the content, um, and then the other information may change over time to be able to optimize the strategy. It's very important in terms of lead nurturing, in terms of prospecting, that people will have a buying frame. So they're not necessarily going to be ready to buy in the beginning. So we need to optimize the strategy around how we can put the pressure, make them interested, and not lose them as a customer. So the idea is that we can optimize our strategy around this. Because we have the KPIs, we can feedback, and we can measure and improve over time, as well as improving the profile of the user. So with the other example, we're looking to optimize what is that persona of that user, because we don't necessarily know. So what we expose them to may lead to knowing more about their personality, which will lead to a different approach that we may take. So the idea is we're optimizing the overall strategy for personalities, but we're also optimizing to learn the personality about the user as they interact with the communication. What is open, what is read, and other aspects, what call to actions do they make, that are potentially learning about them and learning about their personality type. So that's a very high level view of how the process works and how we kind of automate the sales system. If you're interested, please reach out and contact us, and we'll have a conversation about how we can experiment and how we can create that sales models for you.